ISF requirements for hazardous materials importers. Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will be discussing the specific requirements for importer security filing (ISF) when it comes to importing hazardous materials. Importing and shipping hazardous materials requires adherence to strict regulations and heightened security measures. Join us as we explore the unique considerations and compliance requirements for importer security filing concerning hazardous materials. Let's dive in. Importance of compliance for importing hazardous materials. Importing hazardous materials poses challenges and risks that must be managed effectively to ensure the safety of individuals, the environment, and supply chain security. Compliance with ISF requirements is crucial for managing these risks. Identifying hazardous materials. Importers must accurately identify the hazardous materials they are importing. This includes properly classifying the materials based on their hazardous properties and associated risks, as defined by the U.S. Department of Transportation, and other regulatory bodies. Complete and accurate ISF information. Importers of hazardous materials must ensure that their ISF includes complete and accurate information about the shipment. This information includes detailed descriptions of the hazardous materials, their classification, packaging, and any necessary permits or certifications. Understanding hazardous material codes. Importers must be familiar with the hazardous material codes used in ISF filings. These codes provide specific information about the nature of the hazardous material being imported, allowing customs authorities to assess the associated risks accurately. Compliance with hazardous materials regulations. Importers must comply with all applicable hazardous materials regulations, including those from the International Maritime Organization (IMO) and International Air Transport Association (IATA), when importing hazardous materials. The ISF must reflect this compliance. Additional documentation for hazardous materials. Importers of hazardous materials may need to provide additional documentation alongside their ISF. This documentation may include safety data sheets, SDS, transportation permits, registration certificates, and emergency response information. Collaboration with customs brokers. Collaboration with experienced customs brokers is crucial when importing hazardous materials. Customs brokers possess the knowledge and expertise to navigate the complex regulations surrounding hazardous materials, ensuring compliance with ISF requirements. Verifying carriers' hazmat certification. Importers should verify that their carrier has the appropriate hazardous materials certification. This ensures that the carrier is equipped to handle and transport hazardous materials safely and in compliance with regulations. Complying with advanced electronic information requirements. The ISF process includes providing advanced electronic information to customs authorities. For hazardous materials, this may require additional details such as the proper shipping name, UN number, and packaging group, ensuring accurate classification and risk assessment. Communicating with carriers and freight forwarders. Open communication with carriers and freight forwarders is crucial for importing hazardous materials. Importers must share relevant information about the hazardous materials and their compliance with regulations to ensure proper handling and transportation. Complying with packaging and labeling requirements. Importers must comply with specific packaging and labeling requirements for hazardous materials. This includes using approved packaging materials, properly labeling each package, and providing appropriate safety markings and warnings. ISF amendments for hazardous materials. Importers must be aware of the potential need for ISF amendments when importing hazardous materials. Changes in shipping details, packaging, or hazardous material classification may require amendments to ensure accurate information is provided to customs authorities. Understanding international regulations. Importers must also consider international regulations when importing hazardous materials. These may include the International Maritime Dangerous Goods (IMDG) Code for ocean shipments and the IATA Dangerous Goods Regulations for air shipments. Compliance audits and training. Importers should conduct regular compliance audits to ensure that their processes for importing hazardous materials align with regulatory requirements. Ongoing training and education for employees also help maintain compliance and enhance safety practices. Corrective actions for non-compliance. In the event of non-compliance with ISF requirements for hazardous materials, importers must take immediate corrective actions. This may include amending the ISF, rectifying packaging or labeling deficiencies, and addressing any regulatory issues. Periodic updates and changes in regulations. Importers of hazardous materials must stay updated on changes in regulations related to the importation of such materials. Periodically reviewing and implementing necessary updates to their internal processes and documentation ensures continued compliance. Collaboration with hazardous materials experts. Importers can benefit from collaborating with hazardous materials experts who can provide guidance on compliance requirements, assist in classifying hazardous materials accurately, and offer guidance on the proper handling and transportation of these materials. Continuous improvement. Importing hazardous materials requires a commitment to continuous improvement. Regularly reviewing and enhancing internal processes, documentation, and training programs contributes to maintaining compliance and ensuring a safe supply chain. Effective emergency response plans. Importers of hazardous materials must have effective emergency response plans in place to mitigate potential risks. These plans should include procedures for addressing incidents, communication protocols, and proper reporting to authorities. In conclusion, importing hazardous materials requires careful attention to compliance with ISF requirements and relevant regulations. Ensuring accurate documentation, collaborating with customs brokers and supply chain partners, and maintaining open communication are key to successfully navigating the complexities of importing hazardous materials. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it informative and valuable. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more insights on customs brokerage, international trade, and essential topics related to hazardous materials importing. Stay tuned for our upcoming videos.